Every human who has ever lived asks the same question. Not, is there life after death? But, why do I have to die at all? Death is the one rule no one agreed to, yet everyone is forced to obey. We age, our bodies weaken, our memories fade, and one day, consciousness simply stops. For thousands of years, humans refused to accept this as final. We called it destiny. We called it God's will. We called it nature, but beneath every explanation, there was the same silent rebellion. Religions promised eternal souls. Myths spoke of forbidden knowledge and immortal beings, and now science asks a dangerous question. What if death is not a law, but a limitation? What if aging is a problem waiting to be solved? What if immortality is not a miracle, but a choice humanity is slowly approaching? In this episode, we explore the oldest obsession of our species. Not the search for meaning, the refusal to disappear. Death is not humanity's greatest fear. Animals don't fear death the way we do. They flee danger. They avoid pain. But they do not lie awake at night imagining the end of their own existence. Humans do. What terrifies us is not dying, but knowing that we will die. This awareness is uniquely human. The moment consciousness became self-aware, death stopped being an event and became a sentence. From that moment on, everything changed. Time became limited. Meaning became urgent. Memory became fragile. And every achievement, every love, every idea was placed under the shadow of an ending. This is why immortality is not a luxury. It is a response to the unbearable tension between two truths. We can imagine forever, but we are built for decay. Our bodies are temporary systems. Cells divide, accumulate errors, and eventually fail. Aging is not a mystery. It is damage that slowly overwhelms repair. And yet, our minds resist this reality. We plan decades ahead. We create art meant to last centuries. We record memories so they can outlive us. Every civilization, no matter how primitive or advanced, reached the same conclusion in its own way. Something about us does not accept an expiration date. Immortality did not begin as a scientific ambition. It began as a psychological necessity. Before laboratories, before technology, before equations, there was a simple refusal. This cannot be all there is. When humans realized they would die, they didn't search for answers in the sky. They searched for reassurance. Religion was not born from power. It was born from fear, and from hope struggling to survive that fear. Across cultures and centuries, religions offer the same promise, wrapped in different languages. Death is not the end. The body fails, but the self continues. Souls ascend. Spirits return. Consciousness moves beyond flesh. Heaven, reincarnation, resurrection, eternal judgment. These were not random ideas. They were carefully shaped responses to the same unbearable thought, that everything we are could simply vanish. Religion didn't deny death. It redefined it. Death became a doorway, not an erasure. And in doing so, religion solved a problem biology could not. They preserved meaning. If consciousness survives, then life is not wasted. Suffering is not pointless. Love is not temporary, but there is something deeper beneath these promises. Something rarely acknowledged. Religions did not emerge because humans understood death. They emerged because humans could not accept it. The afterlife was not proof of immortality. It was its first design, a way to continue the self when the body could no longer be trusted. This is why nearly every religion agrees on one thing. even when they disagree on everything else. The self must continue, not because the universe demands it, but because the human mind cannot function inside a story that ends without resolution. Immortality, in this form, was never about living forever. It was about refusing to be erased. Long before laboratories and equations, humanity began designing immortality in stories. These were not escapist fantasies. They were structured attempts to solve a problem no one yet knew how to approach. In one of the oldest surviving epics, the story of Gilgamesh, a king confronts the death of his closest companion. And for the first time in recorded history, a human does something radical. He refuses to accept mortality. Gilgamesh does not pray for comfort. He does not seek meaning in loss. He searches for a method, an herb that can restore youth, a secret that can defeat decay. He almost succeeds, but the story ends with failure, not because immortality is impossible, but because it was taken from him. This pattern repeats across civilizations. Prometheus steals fire from the gods, not as a symbol of rebellion, but as a transfer of power. Fire meant survival, knowledge, the extension of human capability beyond natural limits. In Chinese legends, emperors consumed elixirs of life, searching for chemical paths to eternity. In medieval Europe, alchemists hunted the philosopher's stone, a substance believed to heal all disease and halt the decay of the body itself. These myths share a crucial detail. Immortality is never portrayed as magic alone. It is hidden, restricted, guarded. It belongs to gods, or to those who dare to cross forbidden boundaries. This is not how humans write fantasies. This is how humans describe dangerous knowledge they believe exists, but fear they are not ready to possess. Myths did not teach humans to accept death. They taught humans that death might be negotiable. Not now, but someday. Immortality, in myth, was never a promise. It was a warning. A reminder that some solutions come with consequences the human mind may not survive. For most of human history, immortality belonged to stories. Science changed that, not by promising eternity, but by asking a simpler, far more dangerous question. What exactly is aging? For a long time, aging was treated as fate, a natural law, something that simply happens. But biology tells a different story. Aging is not a single process. It is a collection of failures. Cells divide. DNA accumulates errors. Proteins misfold. Systems designed to repair damage slowly fall behind. What we call getting old is not time passing. It is damage winning. And that distinction matters, because damage can be slowed, repaired, in some cases reversed. Scientists have already extended the lifespans of simple organisms by manipulating genetic pathways. In mice, interventions targeting cellular senescence have restored strength, cognition, and organ function. In laboratories, human cells have been reprogrammed, pushed back to earlier biological states, not immortal, but younger. This is where the conversation changes. Death is no longer framed as destiny. It becomes a technical problem, a system with failure points, a process with variables, and once a problem is defined, it invites solutions. This does not mean immortality is close, or guaranteed, or even desirable, but it means something irreversible has happened. For the first time in history, humanity is not asking why we die, but how. And that question does not belong to myth, or religion, or philosophy. It belongs to engineers. And engineers do not accept limits simply because they have always existed. Once death is framed as a technical problem, a new question emerges, one far more unsettling than aging itself. What exactly needs to survive for immortality to exist? Is it the body, or is it the self? Biology suggests the body is replaceable. Organs can be transplanted, cells can be regenerated, limbs can be rebuilt. Piece by piece, the human body is becoming modular. But consciousness is different. Memories, personality, identity. These are not stored in a single organ. They emerge from patterns, electrical activity, chemical signals, and complex feedback loops inside the brain. This is where the most dangerous idea appears. What if immortality does not require preserving the body at all? What if it only requires preserving the pattern, digital consciousness, mind uploading, neural emulation? The proposal is simple in theory, terrifying in implication. If the structure of a mind can be mapped, copied, and recreated, then death becomes optional. Not avoided, bypassed. In this scenario, immortality does not arrive as heaven. It arrives as software, a version of you that can be stored, duplicated, and potentially run forever on machines that do not age. Supporters argue this is survival. Critics argue it is replication, a copy, not a continuation. And here, the question turns personal again. If a perfect digital version of you exists, remembers everything you remember, believes it is you, does your death still matter? Or does immortality require something more than information alone? This is no longer a scientific debate. It is a philosophical fault line. Because if identity can be copied, then the self is not sacred. It is transferable. And once that idea is accepted, immortality stops being a dream. It becomes a design choice. Immortality sounds like freedom, but freedom always comes with a price. Death is not only an ending, it is a structure. Scarcity gives meaning to time. Limits give weight to choices. Knowing that moments are finite is what makes them matter. Remove death, and something unexpected begins to erode. Urgency fades, risk loses its edge, achievement stretches thin across eternity. If there is always tomorrow, then today becomes optional. Human psychology did not evolve for infinity. Our minds are shaped by cycles, beginnings, middles, endings. We grieve, adapt, move forward. Immortality breaks that rhythm. An endless existence risks becoming not paradise, but stagnation. There is also the question of inequality. Who gains access to immortality first? Who controls it? Who decides who deserves to continue and who does not? If eternal life is expensive, then death becomes a privilege of the poor. And even if immortality were universal, another problem remains: identity. Over centuries, memories accumulate, personalities drift, values shift. At what point does survival stop being continuity and start becoming replacement? An immortal mind would not simply live longer, it would become someone else. Slowly. Inevitably. Immortality does not preserve the human experience. It transforms it. And transformation always demands a sacrifice. Even when the reward is endless life, the question of immortality does not exist in isolation. It connects to a much older and far more unsettling idea: the Great Filter. In the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, scientists noticed something disturbing. The universe should be full of advanced civilizations, and yet it is silent. One explanation is that civilizations rarely survive the transition from intelligence to long-term stability. Somewhere along the path of progress, something goes wrong. Technology, outpaces wisdom. Power grows faster than restraint, and civilizations erase themselves before they can endure. We usually imagine the great filter as war, environmental collapse, or uncontrollable artificial intelligence. But there is another possibility, a quieter one. What if some civilizations do not collapse, but choose to escape? If immortality becomes possible, if consciousness can persist without bodies, then physical survival may stop being the priority. Expansion ends, exploration loses urgency, reproduction becomes optional. A civilization that no longer fears death may also lose the impulse to spread, to build, to risk. It may turn inward, not destroyed, but contained. In this scenario, the silence of the universe is not a graveyard, it is a retreat. Civilizations don't vanish in explosions. They dissolve into digital permanence, virtual continuities, closed systems optimized for endless existence. From the outside, they leave no signals, no expansion, no trace. Immortality then becomes the final filter. Not because it kills civilizations, but because it removes the need to be visible at all. And if that is true, then humanity is standing at a familiar threshold, not asking whether immortality is possible, but whether choosing it would quietly remove us from the story of the universe. After all the theories, all the promises, all the warnings, one reality remains unchanged. Immortality is not a scientific problem, it is an existential one. Because even if death could be defeated, even if aging could be reversed, even if consciousness could continue indefinitely, something would still have to answer a far quieter question. What would you do with forever? Meaning is not created by duration, it is created by limitation. We value moments because they end. We love deeply because loss is possible. We choose carefully because time is scarce. An infinite life does not automatically produce infinite purpose. It demands something harder, a reason to continue when there is no longer an ending forcing you forward. This is why immortality has never been humanity's final goal. Continuity was to be remembered, to leave traces, to matter beyond a single lifetime. Perhaps the fear of death was never about non-existence, but about insignificance. And if that is true, then immortality alone solves nothing. Because a life without an ending still needs a reason not to disappear emotionally, even if it survives physically. Immortality does not answer the question of meaning. It only removes the deadline. We have always asked whether life continues after death. But maybe that was never the real problem. Maybe the real problem was that death gave life its shape. For thousands of years, humanity tried to escape that shape. Through religion, through myth, and now through science. Immortality was never about living forever. It was about refusing to disappear without meaning. But if death is no longer inevitable, if time is no longer limited, then meaning is no longer guaranteed. Immortality would not free us from questions. It would strip away the excuse of not having enough time to answer them. And when that moment arrives, the universe will not decide for us. Technology will not decide for us. We will. So here is the only question that remains. If you could live forever, would you still know why you live at all?